First off, thank you guys, everybody, for being here. It is being recorded, so just be mindful of that. I'm going to share my screen, so your little video things will go to the side. If you have questions, because it is a smaller group today, you can go ahead and unmute yourself during my session and go ahead and ask your question if it's something relevant right then. If you want to wait till the end, that's cool too. And if it's something specific, if you're working on something and you need help with something specific, you can even ask me at the end, or just shoot me an email or something like that too. So I'm going to cover a variety of things because we have all ability levels here. And since this is being recorded, all different ability levels, we'll be watching this later. So some stuff you might already know, but bear with me because you might hear something new, and I hope everybody does take away one little tidbit from today. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let's find which screen I want to do. Okay. So this is my first attempt. Hopefully everybody can see my virtual office right now. This was my first attempt at making a Bitmoji classroom, and this is where I kind of got hooked. Once I started to make it, I realized the possibilities were endless for how cool a Bitmoji classroom could be. Now, that being said, I'm calling it a Bitmoji classroom, and I'm calling it that because that seems to be the buzzword on social media. But, sorry, I was just hiding all my videos so I don't get distracted. That seems to be the buzzword on social media, but you could easily do this without having a Bitmoji. You can call it your virtual classroom. You can call it a variety of things, but just for this, I'm going to call it my Bitmoji classroom. The important thing to know here is that I used Google Slides to make it. However, you can do the same thing using PowerPoint. You can do the same thing using, I've heard people have been using canva.com to make these. A lot of people, the most popular is using Google Slides. However, you can use PowerPoint as well. So if you aren't a Google Classroom school and you tend to stay away from Google Docs, Google Slides, stuff like that, no big deal. You can do the same thing in PowerPoint. And I'm actually a Microsoft type person anyway, so I do prefer PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you some tricks that are in PowerPoint. But let's just start from the basics. I'm going to kind of deconstruct my virtual office to show you, working backwards, how this is done. So all it is a series of shapes, clip art, and hyperlinks. So I'm going to teach you guys some tips and tricks. The Bitmoji part is literally just to add a little extra flair to make it more personal for your students. Another thing I should add is that these Bitmoji classrooms, they don't just have to be for your students. They could be for families. They could be a resource for the summer. It could be like myself, PD, for your own staff. There's so many different things you could do with these. I've seen virtual field trips. I've seen the 8th grade trip to Busch Gardens done as a virtual classroom. I've seen field day done, and I'm going to show you where you can find all those samples. And I'm going to teach you guys the shortcuts that I did not take, that I didn't know until later. So my virtual office, like I said, I'm just going to kind of deconstruct it so you can see it. I literally Googled a floor. So down here is a wood floor, and it's all just a series of images that I just slapped on here. Google Slides makes moving shapes around really easily. PowerPoint, you have to choose the wrapping to make it easier to move things around. But Google Slides does make moving shapes really easy. Then all classy rooms need a nice little molding here. So I just added a white, this is just a white rectangle, as you can see. Things that you have to start to get to know really well are making shapes, how to fill them, and then how to make the outline. And then the most important part here will be ordering. So you want to make sure like the molding is in the background. So that on Google Slides is just called order. So you bring to front, you bring to back. So all of these different clip art images are just placed in different order on the page. For example, for me to move the end table, I had to slide my chair away so then I could get to my end table, slide the chair back. So all of this is literally, I found images online. Then you can type in transparent to find images and to find things that don't have the white background around them. But there are some tips to make them transparent. As you can see, I've been moving things around. So literally all I do is just make shapes and drag them around. And then I just make them into hyperlinks to different places that the students could go, families could go, and such. I'm going to teach you guys really quick tricks for finding images. What I personally did was I actually used PowerPoint, because in PowerPoint, I knew I could make images transparent. So what I would do is if I went, so I'm back in PowerPoint, I inserted an online picture. So let's say a lamp. Another thing to note is you want to make sure that you have the correct permissions to use an image. So here, I'm just going to choose this random lamp. I'm going to insert it. As you can see, it has that white around it. Now, there's a couple ways to get rid of it, and there's a couple ways to do everything I'm going to show you. I'm just giving you guys advice of what I did. One way is you could use a website called remove.bg. No need to take notes. I have everything written down for you afterwards. Or you can do color and set transparent. And as you can see, now my lamp is by itself. Now I right click, save as a picture. I put everything when I'm just working right on my desktop, just so I know where it is. And now I'm going to insert that image. So I'm going to upload it from my computer, desktop, and it was lamp 2. Oh, look at that. Now I'm a liar. It didn't work. Let's try it again. Save as picture. I'm going to change it to PNG. See, this is real time, everybody. PNG should make it transparent. So let me just call it lamp 3, just so I don't get it confused. Save. Fingers crossed, a little drum roll. Lamp 3. There we go, ta-da! So you guys are learning with me to make those little changes. So I'm just gonna make it, change the size. Maybe just for our demonstration, I'll put it here on this table. Now, I want my lamp to link to something. So that way when students come on, they know, oh, if they click on the lamp, it'll take them to an activity about lights. So I can research, I can look. If I have an activity already in my Google Classroom, I can grab the link to that activity. Just for speed here, I'm not going to spend time researching an activity on light. However, I will show you how to make the link. I'll just use this website right here. So say this is a website about light. I can copy this link. And now I can do a couple things. I can right click, or you can use this little button right here, which is insert link, and apply it. So now when students click on that, they'll go right to an assignment that's about light or whatever it is that you have chosen. Here I made this book. It links to the Amazon book, the Amazon link about the book. This teacher initiative grant, when you click on it, it'll actually take you to the page about the teacher initiative grant. What I think is really important to note here is that when I actually write words into the pictures, I don't actually link the words. So let me explain. I don't, I don't know if it's going to let me here. I could highlight this text and make the text into a link. And I'm just going to choose the same one. But notice when I do that, then it becomes hyperlinked with the underline. I think that that gets fuzzy looking, and also it takes away from the look of the image. And also, if you only highlight the text and link the text, then the student has to click exactly there. Whereas if you just do the whole shape, then they can click anywhere in this box and it'll take them there. Oops, sorry. I'm moving things around. So they can click anywhere in this summer courses box and it'll take them there. So to do that, instead of highlighting the text, I click onto the shape. So they kind of click onto the border and then click the hyperlink to take me there. Same thing with this picture. So what I did was I inserted an image. I also added a border around the image. And the reason why I did that was just so it would look like it had a frame. And then I clicked hyperlink and actually hyperlinked that picture. So every single thing on your virtual office can get linked. I've moved things around so much now that everything's kind of crazy looking. But also something to be aware of is this desk. I'm going to delete it just so you can see that what pieces are part of the desk. Undo. Okay, so this desk came with that cup holder or the pen holder, which means I can't click onto that pen holder individually and make that into a link. But there's a workaround. So this is where I said you have to get yourself really comfortable with using shapes. So what you could do is you could make a shape over top of something like that pen holder. Now make the shape transparent. Don't have, take away any lines. So now it's just an invisible square that now I can add a link to it. So it could be a link, to something else about pins or something like that. But if you have an image in your background that you want to make into a hyperlink, you can just add an invisible shape. So that's why I say it's really important to get comfortable with shapes and with the hyperlink button, with the fill, and with the outline. Now the shelves came from clip art. They just were found online. The table was found online. The wall color is the actual background of the slide. So I actually did a gradient blue. So I can change that to anything, and that will change my wall color. The Bitmoji piece, most of us know, so I won't spend much time on that, but the Bitmoji piece, you have to start on your phone, get the Bitmoji app, design your Bitmoji, and then the important thing is to add the Bitmoji extension into your Google Chrome. Sometimes it makes me re-log in. Then if you search, for example, the word pose, you'll get a whole variety of different looks. If you click it, I right click, copy it, and then I insert my Bitmoji. Doing the extension makes it so it's already transparent. Another fun thing to do is it's just a formatting issue, but I like to do with a lot of my shapes, my chair I did it, my Bitmoji I did it, but what I like to do is actually format options, and I like to add a drop shadow. It just makes it kind of pop a little bit more. These are just tricks with formatting, with PowerPoint and such that you can play around with. That's the essence of, I know, look at my Bitmoji that I chose. I think it's pretty funny. That's the essence of actually how to make one of these virtual classrooms. I think what the important thing to focus on though is what's the goal. So I'm going to delete this person because it's really distracting me. So in this instance, my goal was to make an office that had important information for our ADW teachers. So I linked on my computer screen, the distance learning site. I linked the tips for working from home. I threw in a couple fun things like the classroom timer just to have a couple fun things in there. However, my goal was to make it a one-stop shop for our ADW teachers. Now, I've seen such a variety of Bitmoji classrooms, and some of them are really, really detailed and really wonderful. Some of them actually look almost identical to the way your in-person classroom looks. And I think that this could be a really creative way of, especially in the fall, when students are coming back to school in some fashion. Maybe it's alternating weeks, alternating days, blended learning. How cool would it be to have a place that their virtual environment looks the same as their in-person environment? And some of them accomplish that by taking a physical picture of the front of their classroom. Some of them have recreated it with these clip art and stuff like that. But if you take a physical picture and make it your background, then you can just add these invisible shapes over top of the physical picture to hyperlink stuff. So if on your whiteboard you'd have your agenda for the day, maybe that's where you put your objectives. If that's where you put your objectives in real life, you could put your objectives there on your virtual classroom. Maybe your desk has a basket on the desk that has the turn-in papers. Well, if that's where they turn in their papers in real life, then maybe, I shouldn't say real life, but in person, then that's where you put the link that they would enter into the Google Classroom to turn in their papers at that same basket that's on the virtual desk. So those are just things to consider to kind of help the transition if we will be doing a blended learning type of environment. Another fun way to do this is at this time of year, maybe create some sort of virtual summer. Maybe it could be even a beach themed or something like that, a backyard theme. And it could have any of your summer resources and summer links on it. I have some examples of that I'm going to show you. I'm going to step away from my virtual office now and show you a resource I created for everybody that has more of these links and such. So, Bitmoji Classroom. So this is another one that I made, and you guys can get to it easily. I'll share this out, but if you actually go to bit.ly/ADW Bitmoji, you'll get to the same screen I'm on right now, and it's filled with clickable links. I even did a voice in here. I'm going to click it. Hopefully you guys can hear it.
Hey everybody, it's Vicki McCann here, the Director for Curriculum for the Archdiocese of Washington. I want to welcome you to my Starbucks Cafe and hope that you enjoy clicking around to learn more about the Bitmoji craze. Enjoy!
So to do that, I'll just show you guys really quickly what I did. All I did was I actually just went to my computer and I just typed in voice recorder, and my computer already had a voice recorder. It's already installed in the desktop. So all I did was record my voice. That's what recording 2 was. And then in my virtual Starbucks, I inserted audio. The trick here though is that recorder that I did, that recording 2, actually cannot be played on here because it's the wrong format. So after a little bit of research, I saved you guys time and I put the link here for the audio converter. So what I actually did was I recorded really quickly with that voice recorder down at the bottom, and then I just uploaded it into this audio recorder, and then it comes out. It took me 2 seconds. It comes out as multiple different formats, but wave, .wave, and then I just uploaded it, and then here it is to play it. Now you can also record doing a variety of other things. So you could do it on Screencastify. I'm just teaching you guys what I did, but like I said, there's so many different ways to do any of these tools that I'm using. Another thing that I want to point out is that I have a second Bitmoji in here. In the Bitmoji craze, you're going to find a variety of different classrooms. You're even going to see, especially right now, is the school photo. So the school photo is a really popular way to use the Bitmojis. Here's one. Here's another. This is faculty and staff. Here's a class photo. And I'm pointing that out to you as something to be very, 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 very cautious of. And the reason why I say that is because I've actually read different stories from different teachers, and I think it's advisable that I recommend that you should not be creating Bitmojis of your students. And the reason why is because, for obvious reasons, but people perceive themselves in one way, and when they see how you perceive them, they might get offended. So sitting in my Starbucks cafe is Shannon Norris, who's on this call right now. I would never create her Bitmoji for her. So what I did was I just sent her a text and said, hey, I need a Bitmoji of you sitting. And she sent it right to me, and I put it in. So if you are going to use Bitmojis of other people, I would get them from them personally. Don't try to create somebody else's Bitmoji for them. You'll spend hours doing it, and in the long run, they might get offended or something. And we want to avoid that. The whole classroom photo thing, some teachers are instead, they're asking the students to create a Bitmoji and then send it to them. Again, I have to, from my position, I have to advise against that, because Bitmoji, you actually have to be 13 to create an account. So just keep those things in mind, that if you are trying to use Bitmoji Classroom for class photos and such, I would not recommend it, because it's not for ages 13 and below. And if you have Bitmoji on your phone, you'll see there are some kind of silly, maybe / inappropriate Bitmojis for younger ages. So keep that in mind. Although they look cool on Facebook, might be something that you might want to stay away from. So how in the world did I get it to actually publish like this, so that way you can click around and not actually move my things? And the way I did that was several different several different ways. Like I said, everything here can be done so many different ways. So one is publish to the web. Two is save it as a PDF. These are just different options. You don't have to do all the steps. So you publish to web, or save it as a PDF, or when you share the link and you copy the link, take off the back part where it says like /edit and change it to /present. So up here, you'll see it says /present. I changed it to be that, and then that's the link that I would share with everybody, or put it into my Google Classroom for everybody to see. To do the publish to web, you would go to File, Publish to Web. And then, sorry, there's all these different, my Zoom controls are down here, kind of blocking it from me. But if you oh, I already published it, so it would say publish down here, and then you copy this link. So publish to web is one way, or you can download it as a PDF. So downloading it as a PDF will keep everything still clickable. So it'll keep the links still active. If you download it as a JPEG, that will not allow the links to work. So I put down here, there's 3 options. It's hard to see right now because of my slide thing, but publish to web, use it as a PDF, or take off the back and put #present. So while I was researching and fell into the Bitmoji classroom rabbit hole, I found some great resources to save you a lot of steps. So if you're sitting there thinking, this is so many hours of me creating these virtual offices or virtual classrooms, you stay here at this place and you'll have so many shortcuts that I wish I would have known about. For one is this classroom backgrounds. So I'm going to click on the classroom backgrounds, and you're going to see tons of slides that already have virtual classrooms made up. And these are just wonderful teachers that have shared it with everybody. So hold on, it's going to take a while. There's so many different links and images in here that it takes a little bit to load. But as you can see, there are so many that are already here. Now, they're all editable. What I would do, and what I actually did do, because you'll see that Starbucks one is here. That's where I got it from, the Starbucks one. But if you like one, all you have to do is right-click it, copy, and then start a new Google Slides presentation and right-click paste. So copy the one that you like, open up a new Google Slides presentation, and paste the background. Then you can edit and change all of the different images, take out their Bitmoji, use your own hyperlinks. But this is under classroom backgrounds. Also on this page, to save you a lot of time as well, is, I'm going to scroll down, see how many pages there are. They also have an amazing library filled with the clip art images. So this is such a time saver that I wish that I would have known about prior. So that's why I linked it for you, so you guys would have it. But definitely use this resource. All you have to do is just find the image you like, copy it, and put it into your presentation. And there's tons of backgrounds here. Now, I also found these Spanish classrooms, and now a lot of them are make a copy. So when you make a copy, it puts it into your own Google Slide, your own Google Drive. It's gonna take a little bit, but this is somebody who created a whole bunch of different Spanish classroom backgrounds that I thought were worth sharing because they were fabulous. Now remember too, if you're not a Spanish teacher, you can always alter everything and change it for your own subject area. However, I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of this because some of these backgrounds were amazing. Back to here, there's a field day. Field day is a lot of fun. I've also seen, oh, this is it. So I've seen field days where they have an outside, they use their outside soccer field as the background. In this example, they actually used a real picture of their gym, which would be a cool thing to do, to get a picture of your gym facility and use it to then make different hyperlinks to different activities. I'm opening up so many tabs now. The writing lesson, make a copy of it. It's going to go into your Google Drive. I just have a couple more to show you, but this writing lesson was worth sharing. There's also a bunch on Teachers Pay Teachers, but there's no need to pay for anything because there's so much free stuff out there right now. But this is really nicely laid out. They've already, links are here. So here's end of the year narrative. Here's the paper. You can, like I said before, you can copy, you can change everything that you want to. Now, what I want to highlight here is where I've gone down the rabbit hole the most and what I've strongly suggest joining if you're somebody that wants to deep dive into a virtual world. And that would be this Facebook group. I put the link here for you to join on your own. I joined and I am addicted. But this is where you can get a lot of resources, and everybody here is wonderful. So there's a lot of sharing going on here. It's a lot of, if you ask a question, people will answer it. You can also search in here to get answers, because all sorts of questions have already been asked. See, here's somebody asking help. I need help with a project. 31 people have answered. So I highly recommend this Facebook group. This is a link to the Twitter search. This is the hashtag Bitmoji Classroom. Here's the Spanish teachers. This is the resource I've already shared with you guys, but there's a whole bunch of activities here. I also put a link to a YouTube tutorial if you need to watch somebody else explaining it. Like I said, there's many different ways to do this. So they might mention something that I have not. This is a step-by-step, and this is just written out. So sometimes that's easier to see it onto a blog. This is just a how to Bitmoji if you need the basics of how to actually start a Bitmoji. This is the link to remove.bg, and that helps you to remove backgrounds from pictures if you need to. This is the audio converter that I used. And then this one right here is pretty cool. So this is called Bitmoji Keywords. And somebody created this, a teacher created this and shared it, which I thought was amazing. So they just gave examples of if you search the word pose, these are the images that'll come up. So if you search the word book, these are the images that will come up. So you know when you go to your Bitmoji, you know what you could type in and what type of pictures will show up. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I want something that has animals and you don't really know. So this little PowerPoint is really helpful with that. This is my office that is now messed up, so I had to go back and fix, but this was my office. Something to know is that because I shared the link to my office as a live link, so you can do this either by doing the publish to web or by doing the /present, then any change I make in my classroom will be a live change for your students, which is great. So if you saw you have a mistake, maybe you need to change something, alter something really quick, you can make any change and it'll happen live. However, if you choose the route of saving it as a PDF and then uploading your PDF somewhere else, then just remember that when you make a change, it won't be live. So you'd have to resubmit that PDF onto your Google Classroom or something. So just keep that in mind. I think I deleted the one that I needed. Reopen, close down. Let's go back to my Starbucks. Here we go. And then this right here is a how-to master list. So this is an actual Google Doc for Bitmoji Craze for educators, and it has every different tutorial for how to actually use, how to create different virtual classrooms. If you're using Schoology, how to do it in Schoology. This also has different teaching ideas. So a lot of people use agenda slides in Google Classroom. So all of these links are all here. If you want to add to it, you just have to email or Facebook message these two, and these are actually the moderators on that Facebook group that I joined. So like I said, I highly suggest if you're on Facebook, join that group. A ton of questions will get answered there. This is the link that you will want in order to get to this Starbucks Cafe. I'm trying to look around. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you want me to cover? I know I talked really quick. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I'd be happy. If you have something specific that you're working on one and you just need some help, some ideas, we can always do a quick Zoom and talk more. Oh, I just saw a chat. Oh, okay. Just making sure there were no questions in there. But if you have any questions, if you start to work on one and you need my help, myself, Shannon Norris will happily help out. Like it's very, very, very simple. It's just a whole bunch of hyperlinks, a whole bunch of shapes, a whole bunch of hyperlinks. So it's really simple. The important thing is just how to actually share it when you're done with it. And just have a focus of don't spend too long going down the rabbit hole of creating one of these because you could spend hours. So if I were you, I would start by using a background that's already created and kind of edit that work. Don't recreate the wheel just yet. Wait until you have time, maybe over the summer, if you want to create units. That's a cool idea for next school year. Now, this is not something I'm saying everybody needs to do. I just thought it was something fun. And if you wanted the help to how to get started, then that's why this was here for you. So I'm going to end the session. If there's any questions, let me know. I'm going to share out the recording to everybody. But thank you guys for joining me. I hope you learned something. So thank you so much. Bye.